Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, well, not children of all ages, because there's going to be swearing and things in this, welcome to episode 2 of UGC's Patchcast, where we are going to disassemble a bit of our reactions to 1.1.1.1.1.1.1.1.
Someone had me skipping.
Record. And we're going to look forward a bit to 1.1.2. God, too many .1.1s.
That's your own fault, man. That's your own fault.
Yeah, because I'm totally Bioware.
You heard it here first. Anla is Bioware staff.
I am Bioware. I am personally responsible for the nerf to operatives and smugglers. You heard it here first.
You're
making Miri'modis wishy.
So we've got a slightly reduced council with us this week. Densin is here. Say hello, Densin.
Yes, I am. Hello, I am also Densin.
You are also Densin?
Yes.
Who else is Densin?
Who else is Densin?
I also go by the... I'm a superhero. I'm the superhero named Densin, and I go by the real name of...
Densin.
Gold member?
Gold, shut up.
Smoking a pancake. Alandra is here. Say hello, Alandra.
Hello.
My fellow bounty hunter. So we won't actually have much to add to this conversation. Because they seem to leave us quite alone.
Well, they're happy
Forever alone.
Yeah. Miri?
They leave the snipers even more alone.
You heard it here first. Valic.
Dude, I'm a sword. I never see patch notes.
You never see or you never look at?
Never see.
I never look at them.
Swords and sages have been untouched since launch.
Okay. And Zara, are you with us today?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm hoping you're going to get to be able to talk a little bit about something that's coming up. Because we really wanted to have Cole here, but he didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just a replacement.
Damn kid trying to get an education in college. What the hell's the matter with him?
So Zara, you are my silver medal.
Oh god.
That's sad.
Congrats, runner-up.
Oh, right. I have to interrupt you for a bit. Alu isn't joining us, sadly, tonight. He had some other stuff to do. And I think we're gonna, listen to his message.
Let's tell the truth.
Should we make it Go on, Anla.
Even though we joke about Alu and his stim addiction, Alu has had a few issues this week and is currently whacked out of his brain on painkillers, which is hilarious to listen to, but not great to podcast with. So, It's like art, real life imitating art, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
I think it would have been funny if the rest of us got drunk when he came in all doped up. That would have made a great podcast.
And he actually left us a pre-recorded message, and he asked me to put it in, and maybe it's to troll us, but I don't know,
Because we actually haven't listened to this before playing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if
it says anything about... Never mind.
Yeah, there may be a gap in the recording here, and it won't be us listening to it, it will be us cutting it out.
That's sad.
If he says he obtained his injuries fighting Vikings, it's bullshit.
Let's listen to it, guys, and it's gonna be in here as well.
Hey guys, it's me, Alu. This is a pre-recorded message if you shouldn't have noticed by now. But yeah, I just want to tell you guys I won't be in the podcast today because my wisdom teeth have been pulled and I am pretty exhausted and I'm kinda high on painkillers and yeah, I am tired and yeah. Sorry that I won't be here tonight and stuff like this, but I hope I see you guys in the next podcast thingy. So yeah, enjoy the show.
That was more genuine than I have ever heard Alu in my entire gaming career.
Now, wasn't that sweet of him?
Yeah.
I was expecting something more.
I was expecting there to be a pause and I'd be like, meh, at the end.
Yeah, so was I.
I definitely expected him to pronounce his love for us.
Well,
in that. I mean, he just said it in that way, you know. It was like, oh, hi, yes, I have to tell you something.
I was like expecting liver cancer or something like that.
yeah, I was expecting him to sit there and go, guys, I hate to break this to you, but
I'm pregnant.
I'm
Right.
re-rolling Republic.
I was really half expecting this is Alu, and this is my last will and testament.
A 20-second
Well-
Will and Testament?
Well, maybe he
that's
doesn't have
short.
a lot of stuff. Maybe he
I-
was just
I-
designating who he was giving his stims to.
No,
Okay,
he'll be taking
so-
those to heaven. Or
Yeah,
hell,
he's,
or
Yeah,
he's
those
taking
that
his
go to the
stims
grave
up
with
to
him.
see St. Peter so that he can jab St. Peter and get through the pearly gates.
So he already
Um,
actually gave me permission to that we could troll as much as we want about him or whine as much as we want. So I'm gonna.
I
leave that
think
to
we
Val.
have other things to whine about, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
So as I was saying before, we're gonna dissect 1.1.1 a little. Mainly because it listed quite a few things that it was going to aim to do that it really didn't do.
Or didn't do well.
Or didn't do well. Or, in my personal opinion, they didn't test long enough.
That's
They're
probably a good
rushing
way to put it, yeah.
They're rushing patches out right now. I mean, 1.1.1 came 3 days after 1.1.0C.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, like, it's going to take longer than 7 days.
Yeah, especially since like 2 days after that, they already came with a 1.1.8 patch, which is that's just a certain point that they just aren't testing this stuff for long enough.
Now, granted, this is PC gaming. You got to give them a little
True.
bit of leeway. Everyone's
That's
system's going to be a bit different. But if you use a little bit of an incentive or maybe ran the patch server a little bit differently, you might get a more, I don't know, accurate gauge of the patch because more people are using it. Just like when every game goes live, you've got millions of players versus hundreds or thousands of beta testers.
The
You find
problem
more stuff
is,
wrong.
the problem there at Valic is the PTR shouldn't even exist right now. Because people should be focused on playing their first character on live. They should not be reliant on us going over to the PTR.
Oh,
I was
dude,
just
I'm in
thinking
complete
about that.
agreement.
I
I
mean-
hate PTRs in general because it's not the player's responsibility to police your bad coding.
Yep.
But they are an active tool that is being used that will not be going away anytime in the near future because it saves companies massive amounts of revenue.
Well, that, and besides,
So-
don't forget the massive amounts of people that will be actually testing it. I mean, if they would.
But it's not working.
No, it isn't.
That's why they need an
That might
incentive.
be, but that might be because there aren't enough people testing it. You know, it might just. I mean, how many actually active PTR testers are there? We don't have
I've
any
never
numbers.
even
No idea.
logged on.
Never
to
seen
it.
numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah, never
Neither
seen
have I.
numbers.
Just think about how many World of Warcraft would have, for instance.
Not
Difference
as many as
there.
you would think unless they're about to release a raid or instance.
Difference
Yeah,
there,
'cause-
Densin, is on launch. WoW did not have a PTR. It had in-house testing.
Really, I did not
Yes.
know that.
The PTR came in like Wrath.
Really, only that late?
Everything else was in-house tested. That's why, I believe, that's why TBC is the best expansion they've ever put out. Because you didn't have players going onto the PTR, practicing the boss for weeks on end, and getting world first kills the day the patch drops.
Out of
That's a very good
curiosity,
point.
since we are talking about the PTR and all that, and I'm pretty sure this was like not a talked about thing, so I'd like to throw this out there. What the hell do you think would make a good incentive to get people to check out the PTR? Since, like you pointed out, Anla, this is the first couple of months. People should be enjoying the story, involving themselves in the game, decking out their characters, raiding, getting ready for raids, all that stuff. What would incentivize you to go and do PTR?
Absolutely
A couple of bucks a
nothing.
month? cheaper discount for you? In-game titles?
Nothing.
How about game time?
Would game time do it? Every hour you log on there is an accumulated hour for something else?
Well, that could be very interesting, to be honest, because in a way you are actually using your own time to work, between quotes, for the company for free.
What about making PTR free to play?
I don't think that's
limit-
actually...
Have like maybe 10 PTR servers, limit them to 1,000 people each. No more can come on. Queue system and all that kind of crap. That's all there is to it. If you want to experience more of the game, have things disabled, like PvP. Disable it on PTR.
That might work, almost a free-to-play style for PTR, because I know people that have looked at this and said it looks interesting, but they're just going to wait till one of those free servers come out, or it goes free-to-play or whatever. So,
Or there's a trial.
The only problem with that is, first of all, you have the problem that then none of your paying people will go there. None of your existing 50s will go there, so they'll have no comparison. Because why am I going to play this free-to-play version of something I'm paying for?
Well, why do they go there now unless they're anticipating nerfs or buffs for their
That's
class
my
and want
point.
to see what it is?
That's
Yeah,
my
or
point.
they want to be trying out the new rates beforehand.
Unless it's
That's
something that directly impacts that person, they won't go to PTR anyway. Well, saying probably 95% of people wouldn't do it.
There is nothing that could get me to log on to the PTR right now. Absolutely nothing. Unless they're going to give me free epics for every hour that I'm on, or boosted experience, or whatever. Because
Hey,
I have a
there's a
character
thought.
at 50. I have a character at 50. I'm gradually going through dailies with him, which I might have to respec back to DPS just to do my dailies, because...
I want to talk to you about the Sork healer later on that note.
Yeah, and I have a trooper that I'm leveling up, and I am enjoying the ever-living hell out of that. It is amazing. Why would I go to the PTR when I'm enjoying leveling my trooper on live? Why would I spend my time doing that? You could allow me to level my trooper quicker? That
Now,
might
see,
be
you
something.
mentioned that. That sounds like a good idea right there. Instead of making it free, give incentives. Give, every hour you log on PTR where you're actively doing something, and they have to have some way of monitoring that you're doing something, not just AFKing on the server, because that's horseshit. People shouldn't be rewarded for that. So, if they can manage to, keep up to date on what you're doing, to make sure that you're not just screwing around wasting time, on live, XP buff, maybe a bit of credit buff. Not anything huge, but maybe a 10% increase to the amount of credits dropped for an hour for every hour or two you spend on test.
Mhm.
And like a 15% bonus to experience earned. Or even you could incentivize the PvPers by giving them bonus, Valor or some crap like that for the amount of time they spend on there.
Yeah,
Just
like
get
in
something
that,
people involved with,
That large Segway-shaped PvP, I think we should move to talking about the PvP nerf to scoundrels and operatives, because this is what spurred a lot of my thoughts that they didn't playtest the PTR correctly. Because, like I was saying before we started recording, it's almost like someone's released a targeted plague, and operatives and scoundrels are just dying in their millions. I never see them anymore.
I used to see them fairly
literally
commonly. And like you
Like,
said,
I literally, since 1.1.1 came out, which is what, 3-4
Week
days?
ago.
It's about 6 days.
yeah, just about a
Something
week.
like
I
that.
haven't had a scoundrel or an operative in a single game of PvP that I've done.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
know.
awkward.
I think I've seen 2, not counting myself. So yeah.
On that note, I used to rage so hard when they would pop out of stealth and kill me before I could get up.
Oh yeah, you guys.
These people have
no
heard
idea.
me in TeamSpeak. I would. Oh my
Mhm.
god, it used to piss me off so much. But I also knew, and I admitted it several times, if I caught one out of stealth, they were dead. They had no chance against me. It was a laughable fight at best. So what did they do to balance them? They took away their ability to kill tanks. They took away their ability to kill DPS in heavy armor, or dramatically reduced it anyway. All for the lethality spec, or not lethality spec, sorry. What's it called, Zara? Concealment?
Yeah, concealment.
And all for that spec. And sorry if it's called something different. Repubs, we are primarily an imp guild, but you know what your mirror spec is. They can still kill squishies, but not nearly as reliably. The stun doesn't last nearly as long, so I'm not popping my cooldown to get out of it. And I can't even tell you if it fills my resolve bar anymore, because I haven't been hit with it since 1.1.1. I just don't know. It used to fill resolve bar, knock your ass on the ground for 3 seconds, and they could damn near kill most of you, including me, if you were squishy, in the span of that one stun. And oh my god, it was rage-inducing. But out of stealth, they were nothing. That was their entire trick. That's the only trick that pony had. And now they don't even have that.
Poor pony.
Now you have, like, you have a pony amputee. You can't even take it to children's parties because they look at it and cry.
That's a very disturbing
This just
thought.
got really dark.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But
Well, how do you think these ops feel, man?
yeah, it is dark, but it's kind of true. I mean, like you guys said, you haven't seen any basically since, so yeah.
They
They
can't
are
PvP.
crying.
What do you... Well, granted, that wasn't a huge chunk of their damage in PvE in raiding environments and heroics. Or not heroics, sorry. Hard modes.
Same
They
thing.
basically have to spec heal or lethality for that as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And lethality being a better PvE tree than concealment is odd, considering lethality is supposed to be the PvP tree. That's the way it was set up for everyone.
Yep.
And now they rely on it for PvE DPS because concealment is even further broke because of not being able to use their 31-point talent effectively to reduce armor and increase their damage output. Now granted, as long as you have bounty hunters in the group for us on Imp side, we still have armor reduction. If you're using a jug tank, you can still have armor reduction. But it didn't have to be that way. It just removed options in that case.
Yeah, and in PvP for at least operative side, the Acid Blade, as a healing op, because I pay attention to this stuff, like with the debuffs, you could remove that, which made me kind of wonder why are they nerfing it in the first place? Something you can easily just click one button and, oh, I removed it from you. No more reduction, no dot. I healed them at the same time. Hey, I mean...
That's part of the biggest problem with PvE right now. If you read the forums, and I'm sorry if you're one of these little people on the forums that, oh my god, nerf this, nerf that. Right now, people want Tracer Missile nerfed. I agree, it does too much for one button. But that's BioWare's fault.
Yeah, we're getting into a whole other discussion there.
Well, hang on, see where I'm going with it, and then let me know if you want it removed, Anla.
No, I'm not saying remove it. I'm just saying you're getting into reconstructing a class rather than nerfing a class.
Follow you on that. Okay, yeah. That's BioWare's fault. I mean, that's the way they built the tree. Lethality, it's a solid DPS in and out of stealth. Concealment was built around stealth, openers, and burst. And now you've nerfed the hell out of it. That's what the tree revolved around. So if people got their way on the forums and they nerfed the hell out of Tracer Missile, they'd kill the Bounty Hunter spec, just like this got killed.
It's exactly what I was saying. Is there are you would have to redesign the class, especially with bounty hunters. Yes, Trace Missile does too much for a single button, but that is because that button is so pivotal to the arsenal tree. Everything chains off of it. Everything.
Let's see, what's it do? 30% increased damage on your unload. Reset the cooldown on unload.
It increases the damage of your rail shot. It
reduce heat on crit?
Your that's another talent altogether, but it doesn't increase your crit chance, just overall damage. It decreases your opponent's armor, and buffs the damage that heat-seeking missile does. So everything
That's
that
all in
a
one button.
bounty hunter uses in its standard rotation chains off a tracer missile.
All in one button, and it's too much. I completely agree with the people on the forums whining about that. I agree it's too much, but something has to change in the tree before that can change. Because if you just nerf tracer missile, okay, that does too much. We're dropping its damage.
You have the same problem.
Okay, bounty hunters,
Yeah.
you don't get to raid anymore because you don't have a DPS output until you
Yep.
know you get to this one ability that's on a 15-second cooldown, and then what? Sorry.
And that's exactly what's happened to operatives and scoundrels. And it's something I've been saying since the day that they announced they wouldn't let you switch advanced classes. I have maintained since day one that if they are not going to allow you to switch advanced classes, they have to keep every single advanced class viable for endgame raiding. And right now, operatives and scoundrels, unless you are a healer, are not viable for endgame raiding. Because are you really going to tell me that I have to re-roll healer or level a gunslinger 1 to 50 in order to raid and re-gear him, which I can no longer do at the same pace because they're changing the way PvP bags come.
Oh my god, I can't believe you brought that up.
We'll
that
get to that
needs
in
to
a
wait
minute.
because that is complete BS for fresh
Yeah.
50s.
Yeah, we'll get to that
I've
in a
been
minute.
50 for a while. I'm pretty much kitted out, but dude, this is just oh man, I can't believe they're doing that.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying is they are treading incredibly thin ice by not testing this stuff better. They have nerfed 2 specs out of endgame rating.
Now, granted, the reason we really wanted Cold here, aside from, Cold Shadow being here, he's a cool dude and everything, but we really wanted him in here because he was our concealment op. He knew what concealment ops did, both PvP and PvE, including in raids, because we brought him on raids as concealment so he could see what it did. Just for the sake of testing, he went and respect concealment for the raid, just to do it. He put out okay numbers. And then
he
gets
was pretty
destroyed
fresh
in
to
melee.
52. He was pretty fresh to 52, right?
Yeah, he was. I mean, he had some decent gear and whatnot, but I mean, it was mostly purple level 50 enhancements and mods and armorings and stuff like that in orange gear. So it was better off than fresh 50, but it sure as hell was not raid gear. I'd say he was probably slightly less than or on par with T&Es. So like tier 1.
Sounds about right.
But he switched again from lethality to concealment to try this. Now, he didn't notice that much of a damage increase from concealment, or going to concealment rather, from lethality. He did notice, however, that he had to be in melee range. He was getting hit with boss AoEs. He had to run further away from bosses and run earlier from bosses because he couldn't stay at range during boss mechanics, which would therefore lower his DPS overall. And after the patch, his DPS was lowered overall anyway on trash mobs. So it was just negative, 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 all because of a PvP nerf.
So, we go to the hot button topic of PvP nerfing PvE. And we've talked about it before, and we will talk about it again, I have no doubt.
Oh, that goes without saying, yeah.
With the established system they have in place, where does X2 mob, does Y2 player, why do they feel the need to put an overall flat nerf on the operative and the scoundrel?
Let me preface anything that's said here with this comment. Open world PvP cannot be balanced.
Correct.
Not.
Agreed.
You cannot control engagement environment. You cannot control when engagement happens. You cannot control what someone's lack of situational awareness happens to be. You can't control when someone's going to pop out of stealth and shank you in the ass while you're fighting 4 mobs. It can't happen. Get over it. Do not try to balance open world PvE. End of story. However, as Anla'shok just pointed out, we already have skills that can't be used on X mob type, can't be used on players, can't be used in PvP, requires companion out. We have stuff that can dictate what can be used in PvP and PvE and how it will perform when used on a player in a PvP environment. And it's just not being utilized. Why the hell not? Why did you put the framework in place, Bioware, if you're not going to use it?
So what you're saying right now is that they can sort of make some sort of scanner if you are actually in PvP and have certain skills behave
Perfect
differently?
example is concussion missile. If I use concussion missile on my bounty hunter, if I hit a player with it, it stuns it for 8 seconds. If I hit a mob with it, stuns it for a minute.
Yeah, sleep dart for ops, I believe it's a 12-second stun if I hit him, and yeah, again, minute long if I hit him on anything PvE.
You're going to get nerfed, by the way. Just because you said that, Zara,
Well,
you're getting nerfed now because
hey,
nothing is supposed to
first
last
off-
longer than 8 seconds.
First off, you have to be in stealth to use it, so you use it once, you try and cap a point, they use their CC breaker, you can't use it again.
Nerf
Yeah.
PvE because of PvP.
And hold on.
Really, it's as simple as, when you go into a battleground, put a buff on a player. This puts every player in the battleground on the same level field, carrying that buff, which indicates that they will be affected by the PvP form of abilities.
Yeah.
So PvP limitations.
More or less. I wouldn't say limitations, I'd say alterations.
Yeah.
Because if CC lasted for 60 seconds in PvP, no one would do it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You would have a team of Sorks that would run around, stun people, start to DPS them, and as soon as they break, whirlwind them and fucking walk off and go cap objectives because you can't do shit.
Or you just, like on Void Star or something, have ops or scoundrels, chain 12-second stunning them.
Yeah, go ahead. Go try and cap that door. Oh, sorry, you're standing there spinning in the air for 60 seconds.
Sorry,
And in
I-
45 seconds, that's back up, so you never get to move again.
I'm having images of that one image that I posted earlier from Reddit.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to do a quick
God.
shout out here to Redditor Lady J. I'm going to hope, fingers crossed, that we can talk Densin into putting the image up on the screen. And it's basically a hotball game that both sides was like six sorcerers and 2 bounty hunters, and it's quite funny to behold. But yeah.
So yes,
just
for people who are
quick
math
shout out.
inclined, that's a 16-person game with 4 bounty hunters and 12 inquisitors.
What was
So-
there was a topic name, special topic name, what was it again?
It sounds like it was the 4th of July in a thunderstorm.
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
So yeah.
So, yeah. Amusing to say the least.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is I don't know whether it's flavor of the month that we're not seeing smugglers and scoundrels and operatives as much. I keep forgetting that there's a second smuggler spec because I never see
I do the same
gunslingers
thing.
in PvP. Even though gunslingers do look kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. If I ever level a smuggler, it's gonna be a gunslinger.
To be
They kind of
honest, I've
resemble
never
John
seen
Wayne in
it.
space.
Exactly. It's the John Wayne, Malcolm Reynolds, like Han Solo kind of thing.
Think the movie Cowboys and Aliens. There you go.
Yeah. Only not crap.
Hey. I'm sure someone somewhere might have liked that movie.
You gotta get your ass sued, man.
Yeah. What, because I said that a movie was crap?
Yes.
You know what else? No. We
No.
could be here for a while.
I'm pretty sure
Transformers?
that none of us are professional reviewers and could give a shit what people think of our opinions of things, but
Exactly.
whatever.
Yeah. But, again, we crossed the dodgy line of PvP nerfing PvE. And unlike in other games, they've shown that there is that wireframe and they're not using it. So that just worries me a little. It is why I think that they need to get off the PTR for a little while.
Why do you think they actually went along with this way and didn't use the mainframe? Do you think they just forgot about it, or?
Easier.
They sure as hell didn't forget about it. It was just, like Anla said, it was much easier to just implement it straight away, and that's it. Why?
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe they felt that, the damage was too much in PvE as well, because I had heard people talk about with their ops or scoundrels that they could take a gold mob to like 25% on level with it before it ever got off the ground, unless it had
Okay.
boss immunity. So, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of PvE DPS as well. But at the same rate, now you're a fairly squishy op or scoundrel that's tanking the last 25% of the gold mob. I'm not sure which I'd prefer to do, steady DPS or extreme initial burst.
Yeah, but not to play devil's advocate there, you get a tanking companion as your first companion as an agent, and as your second companion as a smuggler.
Which you'll have both of well before
No,
you ever
wait,
get to
you
any
get one as your
knockdown
first
opens.
companion as a smuggler. Corso is a tanking companion. So you have tanks.
Oh, is he? Yeah, my smuggler
You
only
have
got
a
to level 9.
You have a tank. You shouldn't be tanking that. Admittedly, you are tanking that because you go burst and you are waiting on your companion to taunt, unless you physically cause it to taunt.
Yeah, who likes to micro their companions? I don't.
I've got to admit, I kind of do. Because, I don't know, it's a nice change. But I don't want to have to do that if I'm fighting a gold mob. I just want to go death, 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 stab, 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 death, death, death. But yeah, I think we've kind of talked this into the ground a little. It literally does come down to Bioware, why right? I'm not...
More or less, yeah. But we do have other stuff to cover on the 1.1.1 patches and 1.1.1a, which wasn't really worth mentioning because it's one little hot fix.
Yeah.
So let's carry on with that, yeah?
Yeah, let's carry on with 1.1.1.
balancing! Sorry.
Something else
Oh
that they were...
shit! Hello,
Something
Thomas.
else that they said they were going to fix was wins not counting for your PvP daily and weekly. That didn't work, did it?
Nope.
I haven't noticed it as much, but then I haven't really been PvPing nearly as much. So I couldn't say one way or the other, but I have noticed that my weekly is still 1 of 9, even though I won 4 games yesterday. So I'm going to be inclined to say that it doesn't work.
Well, what did work, however, is that we now actually get some, what do you call it? The dailies and weeklies for raids work.
That is
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
The raid ones did count when we threw that little composite raid together there.
Yep.
Yeah, though it was a little weird because at least this week when we did Kraga, we actually got credit for it before the boss died.
Did we? I thought we'd
Yeah.
actually...
We
That's
got it when
awkward.
the first one died, not when both died.
That's really
That's
strange. I wasn't tracking it, so that's kind of odd.
Yeah, it popped up on my screen. I was like, what? The other guy still has like 100k left. What the heck?
Fair
That's a
enough.
little weird.
So I don't know.
So-
It's-
I don't know if they're going to be addressing that in 1.1.2.7.9 Captain's Log
135.
Supplemental or whatever, but
I didn't see anything about it on that, so
yeah.
Most likely.
maybe they think it's fixed, or maybe they're still researching the problem. I don't know.
maybe they're trying to hide the
But
fact
it
that
comes
doesn't
back
work.
to why say we're going to fix this and make everyone go, hooray, finally, and then it doesn't work.
Well, my guess is they thought they had the problem resolved, but as a company, when's the last time you can think of any MMO company stepping forward and saying, hey guys, we screwed up, that didn't work, we're still working
Yeah.
on it, we apologize.
Uh,
It would go a fucking mile for our respect for them as a company, just as it would have with any MMO company that ever comes forward and says, okay, we screwed up, which is so goddamn few and far between, if ever. But players would love to hear that kind of shit because it really shows that, hey, we are looking at it, we know it's screwed up, we are working on it, we are sorry.
Alright, so what were the other balance changes you wanted to address, Valic?
The mirrored classes that aren't mirrored,
Yeah.
Freezing Force, for example, now lasting 9 seconds instead of 6 seconds, whereas the Imperial one lasted 9 seconds all along. not really as mirrored should have been. There's other things out there that are still not balanced, and we talked about this before the podcast, but I still hate the trooper mechanic versus the bounty hunter mechanic. It feels so clunky to me.
You're talking about ammo versus heat, right?
Yes. It feels so clunky after playing a bounty hunter to deal with a 12 cap resource as opposed to a 100 limit resource. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I mean, as I said, we talked about that before.
Like I said, and I will defend it and say that, well, I can't defend it, but play devil's advocate on that and say, having gone from a mercenary bounty hunter to a vanguard trooper, which is DPS to tank, it's such a different... I don't know if it's because you're playing in the same tree or not. I don't even know if you are, but going from tracer missile spam to only having like 2 or 3 abilities I actually use that use ammo, it's not an issue for me. I mean, I get to do that awesome lightning cone thing once every 10 seconds. I get to stock strike people, and I full auto every now and again. Other than that, I'm using auto attack or what they call high impact shot, rail shot.
On the note of that conal electrical thing, I'm sorry, but in 1.1.3, that's getting removed from troopers and being added specifically to my Inquisitor.
What? Oh.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because I want that attack on my lightning spamming Sork because it looks amazing.
And as you level it up, it does horrendous amounts of damage.
Oh yes, absolutely. We've seen that in the times we did the Sallies as well.
Oh, it's
pretty
vicious.
I'm level...
Oh wait, it wasn't the Sallies.
Level 37 on my trooper right now, and I can fire that thing off on a silver mob and take off half its health.
Oh yeah, it is pretty damn nice, and not to knock the
flamethrower.
flamethrower.
Who the cat dragged in.
Hey, Kash. Welcome to the
Good evening,
podcast.
gentlemen.
Or Patchcast.
Hello, Cashenstein.
Welcome to Patchcast, Kash.
Real life struck guys, emergency vet. Gotta love it.
Ooh.
Like
Ouch.
like the Twi'lek warrior chick?
No.
Shame on you.
And on that note...
On that note, yeah, just the non-mirror class, I think, is a good point. Now, I wanted to slip this in before we started getting stuff on the patch, and because Kash just got here, I'm gonna kind of drop it on him. And I just want to wind him up and let him go. I wanted to talk quickly about the new race class combinations and how it's kind of handicapping people from making alts right now, and I think Kash will agree with me.
I'm gonna more than agree with you.
And on that note, Kash, go!
Basically, I have a level 50 who is raid geared, and what that means is that I've decided to make alts. But I didn't just make one alt and level them to 50, I made another 7 alts. What that means is that I have one of each character class. Basically, when they make the new race class combinations, I'm going to have to decide between 7 different characters, all of which are level 15 or higher, and decide, well, I don't want that one to be that character anymore, let's make a new one. And I have to repeat that entire class over again. And it's really frustrating because they didn't put out 2 chapters that they had in beta, and if they had put those chapters out, I would have been able to play longer, which means I wouldn't have made as many alts, which means I would have had characters free to make with the new race class combinations, and I wouldn't be screwed out of having to choose which of them to give the axe to.
Parents, you can bring your children back into the room.
Yeah, and I do agree. I made plans on making a lot of ults just to try the classes, and I stopped after my second ult when I heard that.
I
So-
did something similar where I made a whole bunch of alts, but just to reserve names, and I'm leveling specifically one that I kind of wanted to be that race anyway, because of the speculation on other races being brought in. But I would like to add at this point, how much you want to bet they're going to take a page out of Blizzard's money grab page, playbook there rather, and allow you to pay for an in-game race change after they add these other races.
I would not doubt
would
it.
suck. It would suck. And the only one that we're really even sure about, to the best of my knowledge, is warriors being Miri'modis, which are the blind class that Jedis can be right now.
Well, they're not
And-
necessarily blind, are they? They just don't have eyes.
Right, extremely force sensitive, but they are blind. They don't have eyesight, but they make up for that in force sensitivity.
Which
has
I thought they
absolutely
clicked and used sonar.
Well, I don't know, but it has absolutely no impact on how you actually play the character. It's just a character creation, story behind your personal character.
Mhm.
That would have been an awesome option. Instead of one of these quirky little, scan or whatever like the cyborg gets, or, make people cheer the human gets, or whatever the hell it is for the special racial ability thing that you get. Foresight that added like a tint color to everything if you were playing the Miri'modis.
Are you
That
talking
would have been
on
a cool racial.
Are you talking on a permanent basis or just like a
toggle.
60-second kind of?
It would just be a toggle, and all it would do would be like alter the colors a little bit to see like how they would be seeing it rather than just normal visual effects. And you could toggle it off if you didn't like it, or on if you did.
Deus Ex, everything.
That would have been a cool ass
Yeah.
racial to have in the game.
The only problem is that a racial like, I don't know, the Ratatakis, which is the air boxing, which is really terrible, they would complain immensely, or they would just never get played, period.
I've never even used that one. But as a Sith, I'm
Exactly.
perfectly happy bitch slapping my companions that irritate me like stupid 2V.
I have to be honest, my level 50 Zabrak, I've never used the racial. I think it's inspire loyalty or something like that, but I've
Yeah.
never used it. One of the cooler ones is the humans, who they can make everybody around them cheer. I think that's cool. It makes other
It's good
people
for
do what you
trolling.
want.
It's good for trolling. What do you mean?
You make other players around you like cheer for you.
Yeah, humans do that as well.
Which the only real use of that is a troll function. Or if you demand like an on-the-spot screenshot with incooperative people, you can force them to cheer and then take a screenshot.
The
I
only
think that was their intention.
See, one of the most disappointing things in this game for me has been races. Like, just overall. The fact that they don't do anything to alter your what you can do, the fact that you can have a body type for chess, the fact you can have a chess, it's just a lot of racial. It's a hot button topic, I think.
Well, that goes back to that whole where the lore is like ingrained in you and you know a lot about it, and it's kind of a kick in the balls for you to have some of this stuff going on.
Well, no, I'm
Because
even
it
just
just isn't
talking
fitting.
about. It would be really nice to have Zabraks getting +1 strength. Humans get +1 endurance. Just something to make them different from just reskin after reskin after reskin.
And I will argue with you on that point, as you have with me on the others as a devil's advocate here, and say, I'm glad they didn't, because I don't like my in-game character being dictated by starting game stats. I don't want to be the best raider because I rolled X, and not because of skill or class.
one stat point.
Well, one stat point's so trivial, it adds 0.23 ability power or some crap
At
anyway.
higher levels, yes, but early on, it means something. Which is why it would be good to have such a small amount, because it would mean something at the beginning and not affect endgame.
I don't know. Again, I don't like the ones that have stat bonuses because it tends to throw you into this is meant for this.
It's fair, I mean, but
Yeah, I can understand that going back to, say, orcs having a very warrior racial, and dwarves having a seemingly more tanky racial.
And trolls racial sucking.
Yeah,
Always.
But let's. Okay, so we've had our little trollololol moment with Kash here.
Yeah, well, I
let's-
just wanted to ask one more question, to be honest, because for the listeners out there, they might not know about the new combinations of classes and races. So, what race class combinations do
Good
we
point.
know of right now? So, does anybody know? What do we actually know?
We
The
know
only-
that.
Sorry, Kash, go ahead.
I was gonna say we know that warriors can be Miri'lukas because that was clearly put out in the video. I don't know without doing research if they've released any others.
Is there any
I've
word
not
on those
seen any.
Devonians or Devlonians or whatever they are, the horned red dudes?
Nope. Again, that comes down to what are we getting through Legacy. But
Exactly.
Another thing with those is that one of the companions of one of the classes is a Devronian, and when you try and put a helmet on that character, they don't show. So they might be having a decision whether or not they want to do that as a class if they can't put helmet on them.
well, it didn't stop them with Twi'leks.
It didn't stop them with, a lot of things, really. Does it show when you have your little midget following your bounty hunter around?
Nope. In fact, no gear shows on him. He's like him.
Yeah,
Yeah, same
so-
as Brewmark.
Well, and same as the last agent companion.
I mean, it's not a horrible thing. Don't allow it, or just put the horns through the helmet. No big deal.
They should do the same with Twi'leks, to be honest. Especially
But,
with a boot or something.
Again, we're kind of petering off of topic, and
No, but I can
while
understand
I
where that
enjoy
comes
the
from.
more free form, we are doing a bit of a patch cast. So, Kash, you should have been reining us in here. That's your job, remember? Oh wait,
Slacker.
you haven't
Yep.
been here.
He's here now.
Don't worry,
well,
I'll get you back there.
I shall direct us back on track. God, this is out of character for me. Flashpoints and operations that were changed with 1.1.1.
Yes.
Directive 7 was the first one on the list here, and that was, again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, spoilers are incoming. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Bulwarks. Area of effect
JK.
cone abilities now properly fire in the direction Bulwark is facing. Again, another facepalm oversight on BioWare's part. Why let it fire randomly in any direction it wants to with a conal attack that's supposed to be shooting in front of it? So that got fixed, although we downed him no problem, so I wish they'd fix some of the other crap that they have broken instead.
Can I just a quick timeout? And quick look at the Foundry patch notes. It says the final boss and the final boss.
Yeah,
It
they are
doesn't
keeping
name
that
who
one.
the final boss
Hush,
is.
hush.
No, hang on. They don't name who the final boss is. But if you go back to patch 1.1.0, where they made the changes to the final boss in the two Ilum dungeons, they had no problem naming who that was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which was kind of dumb, but this, I have a feeling for Foundry, that boss is going to be something massively pivotal in later expansions.
Maybe they actually listen to our podcast, which I doubt, but still.
Probably, yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure all BioWare employees listen to us because
Didn't you know I work for Bioware?
we're awesome.
Oh yes, that's right. You
Yeah.
do work for Bioware. You are Bioware.
And we do have the
I
inside.
am all of Bioware.
Yes.
So, with any complaints, people, list all of your complaints to Anla'shok.
Forward to Anla'shok at doesn'tfuckingcare.com.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll proceed to forward them to Kash.
Yes, because he won't listen to us anyway. So.
And just looking
Alright.
back out of curiosity, even on the 1.1 patch notes, they leave him just as final boss. They don't actually
Yar.
list it.
Yeah, so I wonder if there was like a big stink about like, yeah, spoilers, rawr.
So, reining in, again.
Stop
moving
being
on.
out of character, Valic.
I can't help it.
Someone has to.
False Imp fixed a conversation. Little bug fix there. Good job. Foundry fixed an issue with the final fight that could screw it up with the cinematic and whatnot. So again, bug fix. And final boss can no longer become stuck in invulnerable state. I never had this happen, but I
did.
do know other people did.
I hated that. It happened like 3 times in a row. I guess it may have been the second week the game came out. So
Seriously,
annoying.
it never happened to me. Admittedly, I've only ever done Foundry once, and
Had it ruined.
that is a time we shall never, ever relive.
Agreed.
It was a dark time for all of mankind. But that must, stuck in an invulnerable state.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It happened to my group 3 times in a row. It was complete BS. We were about ready to call it when we spent about 10 minutes looking on the forums. It's like, how do you work around this? What the heck? Is it even doable?
Yeah, as I understand it, the workaround was don't bring him to a certain life percentage while he was channeling something.
Well, it
Or
was
he would
one of
break.
those-
I
It
would
was-
still much rather have that glitch than the instant give 70k.
Oh, yeah,
everybody
yeah,
on the
definitely.
team.
Oh, but it's so fun having him walk around and spam that crap for 70k. That's amazing.
Sure.
I wish my damn Force Lightning did that.
Without
Then people have a reason to call me
channeled
OP.
or cast time or
Yeah, which was also great that it's a channeled spell that he uses while walking. That's phenomenal. But anyway, so he won't get stuck invulnerable anymore. And Red Reaper, because Red Reaper isn't even that hugely done as far as I'm aware on my server. So for the one that we play on, I rarely even see people wanting to go to it. I'm not going to spoil the last boss for people that aren't familiar with it. The last boss now gives less experience.
Has anyone here ever actually been in Red Reaper?
I've done
Yeah,
it
I've done it a
twice.
couple times.
Twice.
It's an okay dungeon. It gives you some ideas of like, hey, you need to start paying attention to these little side things on boss fights. But overall, meh.
Okay.
It's kind of fun. The last boss fight has kind of a cool little mechanic and all that in it. And
So does
it's not
second one.
retarded, but it's semi-buggy, but easily
Okay.
to overcome the bug. So it's not a breaking bug in it or anything.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to the changes to operations that were in 1.1.
Eternity
looking-
Vault!
Yep, we're looking at people no longer randomly die
That's
After-
Kash!
being in a specific mechanic. I'm just like,
The troll.
I just have images of someone walking along corridors and just be like,
Let me paint you the picture, Anla.
That's what happened.
several
That's
times.
basically what happens, but this is hilarious because this was literally like 15 minutes afterwards. We had a small break after doing Garge, and we're sitting in front of the Manka Cat pool. People are coming back from AFK, and Kash just falls over dead.
And
Oh,
it
shit.
happens. It happens outside the instance. You take a break, come back, and you're still waiting for people to come out of the instance. You fall over looking at the entrance to the instance. You
Well, did
just
you guys
fall over.
read why that happened? Like, what was actually causing the death?
Because something to do with lava and like some hidden debuff or something like that.
The lava had a max stack it could get to, but it would be hidden. So, like, when it hit that max stack, you instant died, but you would get that
Yeah.
outside the instance because it would continually stack.
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Exactly.
That's awful.
And-
That should have never happened. But it was
So
funny as
stupid.
hell.
Yeah, at least no durability damage, so it
And
was
that
just
was
annoying.
the only fix they put in place for EV. I'm not sure if it was the only fix EV needed. Is that true or false?
Completely false.
Yeah,
Okay.
false.
There's-
I hate faceplant mechanics, which they seem to be really getting into lately.
Yeah, way too much.
Okay. So Cragger's Palace. Now, just quick side note about Cragger. Isn't that the dude that has the gold statue on Nar Shaddaa?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be him.
So bosses movement speed increase.
That's just
Apparently,
you can't
apparently
kite me when I'm
you
in
could
rage
actually
now.
kite him while he was enraged.
Yeah. Because he hit the
I don't
tank
know how
like a truck.
successful people were, but
At the
I
point
guess.
we're at, a half
it's-
Rakata, half Columni raid gear tank can pretty much stand there. If you save a cooldown for it, you're fine. There's
Okay.
no reason to kite it unless you're trying to come in, dungeon geared.
Okay. Fixed an issue that prevented MDU's main control station from becoming usable again after the group is defeated on 16-man hard mode.
This is a puzzle boss mechanic that could force you to restart, or not restart, but
Reset.
reset, thank you, the instance, which was a problem with EV as well, where it would break and that puzzle boss would have to be reset from outside and then come back in. So it's a handy fix. Although I don't remember us ever having the issue, so...
Well, we never
We
did
never did
16-man hard.
There you go.
Same boss no longer only deploys the correct number of ads by the looks of things.
This broke the raid on normal.
Yeah. It's pretty much, if you look at the forums and stuff, and I kind of have to wonder this myself, since I haven't seen hard, and neither of us have, but people are saying it's easier to do on hard than it is on normal now, which is stupid.
Very.
Okay. That
That can't be intentional,
Bioware.
right?
Bioware, do me a favor. Dictionary.com, look up the definition of hard.
Which
The
means
final
you
boss
should.
no longer uses the same ability twice in a row.
Is this the black hole essentially? Is that?
That's the one I'm
Unstable
thinking it is, because I
energy.
can't remember, because really...
Yeah, he has a mechanic where he'll put a sort of a black hole, and it'll suck everybody in and explode. It's sort of similar to the final boss of Black Talon, where if you don't get out far enough, you'll take too much damage.
Okay.
And he had a habit of putting it down twice within a couple seconds.
Yeah.
If that's what that's referring to, then that's a great fix. So
Yeah, because that was annoying to heal.
See, Bioware, you can
Um,
actually do things right.
Taking the shuttle after beating the last boss no longer transports the player to the incorrect hangar, and walls that were missing within the instance are
I'm
now
actually
in
sad
place.
about this. I'm actually sad
Yeah.
about this because it was a big gaping hole in a hallway that allowed you to look out at the planets below and whatnot.
Oh, really?
And it was
Well,
cool.
maybe- Maybe they
And
can
people
put a
would fall
window
out
there.
of it.
And
Put a window
actually, as we learned just through messing around and checking ourselves, there are still walls you can't walk through.
Yep.
I think we kind of...
Okay. Okay.
I think
Wait, there
Theo
are
found
walls
that
that
out
you
by
can
exploring,
walk through.
didn't he?
I think it was Vit, but meh, it's another story.
Might have been Vic.
Okay,
yeah.
so repeat that for a bit. You can actually walk through walls.
Some
Some
it's
To your death.
just like in the space station with Alu and his explorations of stuff. It usually doesn't end well when you find the wall you can walk through.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting to say the least.
Although, again, I'm not sure who it was, but it was either Theo or Vit, and I think you are right. I think it was Vitani found a wall that you could walk through in Karagas that you could drop down on the crowd that was watching the fight with the first boss. Which you're
I'm
not
sort of-
supposed to be able to get to.
I'm starting to think that they have to hire some of these people that we're talking about just now as bug fixers or bug
No, but they have
testers.
PTR for that, Densin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wah,
exactly. Why would they want to
wah.
pay people?
Some people
burn,
even do
burn,
shit
burn.
just to turn up in the credits. That's all. Some people.
Yeah.
do.
So, I think that kind of covers 1.1.
Nope. Not quite.
No?
It
The
doesn't.
bug fix at the end fixed an issue that prevented some players and operation groups from receiving credit for missions, weekly deadly operations, weekly galactic operations, and Journey to Bosavus Depths. No idea about the
Didn't-
Bosavus Depths one, but that actually worked as intended. I don't think anyone in our ops did not receive credit when we did it this week.
Exactly.
think-
Yeah.
They already spoke about that with getting credit before you actually killed the boss.
Yeah, it was
Just
we
wanted to throw it in
mentioned
there
it,
because we were on the patch notes at the
Okay.
end here for all this.
Okay.
I
Um,
think...
The one that really boggles my mind is special items related to different editions of the game have been resent if they were deleted by the mail system prior to being claimed. The only way that could happen is if you left that stuff in your mail system for 30 days.
Pretty much. But some
I
people
know,
make
I did.
alts and then just don't play them because they're reserving a name or something, you know?
Yeah, but if they're only reserving a name, why do they care?
Because they intend to play the character, but they don't want to play it and level it now, but they want that name when they play.
well,
Yeah, but
like,
they-
like
they-
Alu-
I'm guilty of
class
doing
combinations
this.
are going to come out.
yeah, I know Alu's got a couple of
This is true.
characters that he's reserving a name for, but he's not playing them until the class combination comes out that he wants.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so looking back at 1.1.1, do we think overall it was a successful patch? Like, did they do enough to
It wasn't
Like-
successful for operatives in the mirror that I can never remember the name of.
Scoundrels.
Thank you.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Well, to be honest, I never really pay attention to patch notes, even though I'm doing a patchcast right now, which is very bad of me.
You heard it here first, people.
Awkward.
Densin can't read.
Shut up, I can't read.
We do
yes.
have a fund for him, and it's available at.
Please make checks payable to Anla'shok's Cash Quick Enterprises.
Wait, that's not it.
Oh,
You son of a bitch.
I thought it was gold members cash bit.
Okay, so I think we'll agree that I don't want to say it was a monumental fail, but they really do need to spend a lot more time testing patches.
Agreed.
Yep.
I would like to see the patches come out and actually fix the problems, really fix the real glaring problems, not little cosmetic things, not little minor bugs that people can get around with a tiny workaround that takes them 2 minutes, but fix the game-breaking mechanics that are failing right now, and worry about PvE balance, and start segregating PvP and PvE patches so that PvP done differently than PvE.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that should pretty much sum up 1.1.1.
Yeah. So before we move to 1.1.2, there's a couple of things that we want to see in patches that aren't in patches that need to be in patches. I know Alandra has one, which I completely agree with. And that's the abilities on cooldown, right?
Yep. It would appear to be usable. You click it, nothing happens.
This causes
So-
me much rage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know why they made the change. I mean, there's times where I'm sitting there spamming my interrupt because it's got like 1 second left, and I don't interrupt this deadly mechanic and take it to the face. You know, or the mob gets a heal out there.
I have to say, never had any problems with that.
Yeah, but you
So
don't
that
count,
is-
Denton. You're a marauder.
So,
Marauders
still
don't have
drop shit.
cooldowns. We already
I
know
can
they're
still
OP.
drop shit.
Alright,
By the way,
1.1.2.
buff.
Lots of stuff on
There,
that.
I
Hey,
think
look,
there's
Kash is
one.
back, guys.
There's one more thing. Miri wants to say something about one of the bosses in EV, don't you, Miri?
Okay, we've been trying to kill the last boss in hard mode, EV, since our first time doing hard mode. It's impossible, and almost every strat I've read is you have to use a Sork healer because they get a 5-second shield called Static Shield, and we've tried it over and over. We're over geared for it by now. I'm pretty sure everyone's gotten at least half Columni. So yeah, that was 15 seconds.
So, you're telling me that you have to bring one specific class, one specific advanced class, one specific spec to beat the hard mode of this boss?
From what I've read, and we haven't tried it in a while, like with the full group, but
Well, that's because part of our rating group, which is also part of UGC, has had technological difficulties, whereas computers are blowing up or they're having facial operations and crap.
So, having a facial operation is a technical difficulty.
Well,
For Alu,
technically
it is.
there's shit wrong with your face if it needs to be operated on.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, what exactly is it that you need this shield to...
one of the mechanics is on the second and third phase. You have to run yourself into a ball of lightning to basically get it off the field and stop killing everybody. This does about 10,000 damage, 15,000 if you're not quick, and unmitigated that will kill almost everyone, or at least bring it down to like 5%.
Now,
Yeah.
on what Mary's talking about there, he wasn't around, unfortunately, for the last raid that we ran, and we were doing really well with
I
it
hate that.
until this problem popped up. So-and-so is targeted by the lightning ball. You get the warning. They have been mind-trapped. Now the lightning ball can't be face-planted, or if it can, you don't know by who, because it doesn't refresh a warning to tell you, and it starts traveling straight at the tank or straight at someone on the opposite side of the tank. You can't have the entire raid group charge at this thing, so odds are that one instance right there where a lightning bolt is on someone that then gets mind trapped can cause a wipe. And there's nothing that I've figured out, or that, as far as I know, the rest of us have figured out, that you can do to stop that. And as far as the main tank getting mind trapped, if it's in the third phase and the main tank gets mind trapped, you're boned. If you don't get that shield broken, you may not make the enrage timer. So you have to have another tank that can pick him up right away and get him under the column that's going to drop. And if you can do that, hey, cool, great. But a lot of raids aren't running multiple tanks. We are, but that's not the point. Still, the mechanic of the main tank being trapped is horseshit, in my opinion.
I think we talked about that one before, actually.
We probably did, but it's still happening.
Composition. Yeah. So let's take a gander at 1.1.2. We're not going to go through everything. Just a couple of highlights and anything that anyone wants to specifically talk about. Abilities on cooldown are now more easily distinguished from abilities that can be used. There you go, Alandra.
Let's hope they did it right.
Yep.
I hope they went back to the grey,
Yes.
part where it's just grayed out, because
Just give me a
shit
friggin'
doesn't
toggle.
work.
What's so hard
Yeah.
about that, Bioware? Give me a toggle.
Yeah.
Give me an option to click it on or off.
If sprint was active when a player died, it now remains active when the player is revived.
Oh, thank God!
Who doesn't use
PvP,
sprint?
Here I come.
Who doesn't use sprint after level 14? Just make it a passive. Wait, never
The
mind.
only-
Already had this conversation with Alandra. He wants more buffs on his bar because it makes him special.
Yup.
Well, I've occasionally turned sprint off if I'm grouping with someone that doesn't have it. But
Why
that's
would you
about
do
the
that
only
when it's
reason.
more fun to run around them in circles and troll them?
Because I'm not a douche.
Valic is.
Well, yeah.
I'm not Valic,
Hey!
thank fuck.
Well, screw both of you.
What did I do?
Look,
You know
Valic,
what
I've told
did.
you before.
I'm
Only
not
if you
asking
buy
your
me
wife,
dinner
she
first.
bites.
Only if you buy me dinner first, and if you get permission from my wife. Okay, that was a conversation killer.
I guess you could say that again, yeah.
All right,
So-
carry on.
There are a wide variety of abilities that they are making unable to be used on operation bosses.
I don't even know what the hell Pacify did.
Well, no, I mean it's
Anyone?
You could.
Oh, I think it's the same as the Marauders of first grade.
Yeah, they both have that
Obfuscate,
note, so
yeah,
I would assume.
Sorry, first grade.
Oh, okay. Okay,
What's
I know what you're talking about.
So, Miri, what is marksmanship? Diversion. What is diversion?
I would not know without being in the game.
Okay, fair enough.
Isn't that your
someone
Echo Dome?
That's
No, I think it's something like pushes you out of cover or something.
that's cover pulse.
No, pushing them
Wait.
away from your cover. I think diversion is what pushes them out of cover. Out of their cover.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I don't stack into that.
Okay.
It seems to be mostly a PvP town.
Okay, cool. So apparently it could no longer be used on boss enemies. No.
Okay, well, specifically looking at up here on Torhead, throws a smoking canister at the target, reducing its accuracy and exposing the target from cover.
Okay,
So
so
you
it's
can-
practically the same as obfuscate?
But it's reducing accuracy.
Yes.
Yeah, and it is a large accuracy reduction, so I can see why they'd be
Yeah.
removing that, because that could trivialize melee boss fights.
Okay. Okay. This is something you brought up, Valic.
Come on, we all know I don't have valid
charges
points.
for the assassin and shadow.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Which,
Same.
again, Zara will have a better input on this. I just happened to pick it up and kind of be hit with a WTF moment. You've got Warriors and Marauders. You've got Sentinels and Knights. What's stopping them from doing the stance dance? They put on their tank stance. They build up their rage. They swap over to their DPS stance. They jump on you and unload everything. they can freely jump between, and they don't lose any of their punch for doing so. But now, our resident assassin here is getting his force bar emptied whenever he decides he wants to change stances. So,
I think, if I'm correct, warriors do the same. Because
They lose all the range.
do they?
I tried that a few times and I think it did.
Yeah, basically, when you have a full rage bar and you switch between stances, in my example, the tank stance to just the balance stance, you lose your entire rage bar, not half of it. A quarter, you go from full to zip. You have to build it all up again. And it goes for, switching back the other way, too. So anytime you switch a stance, it looks like you're going to lose your entire rage bar.
So I was right after.
Okay, so on that
So it's
point,
just a balance
I
thing.
was mistaken, and they're balancing shadows and assassins to be on
Okay.
par with tanks for switching stances. So,
Okay.
my bad, guys.
So it's not as big a thing as we thought it was.
Thankfully.
Not at all. So
Okay,
thank you for the
Valic
clarification on that, guys.
overreaction number 1 for the week. Can someone
Hey,
take a
when
note
they
of
start
that?
changing class mechanics and shit on things that I haven't heard whines about, I get paranoid.
Okay. Everything else seems to be really Death Field is getting affected. 1% of maximum health for each target struck.
What is depth field?
Deathfield is the shadow / assassin. Well, not shadow. There's force and balance or some crap like that. Basically, it's the same as the Sork version of Deathfield, which is a small targeted AoE. I'm sure Zarek could give you the specifics.
For Deathfield?
Well, maybe he can't because he's tank, I think.
Well, it's in
Yeah.
the Madness tree, so it's going to be the same as yours.
Oh.
I don't think theirs has the range of mine, though. I'm not sure.
It's the shared tree, so why wouldn't it?
Well, it's the shared tree between assassin trees. Just like if you're
Yeah.
Pyrotech,
No,
Powertech,
no,
you
No,
don't have
it's
the
in
same
Madness.
Yeah, Madness shares between Sorcerer and Assassin.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
tier
but the
3
trees are
Madness.
different. If you look at Powertech
Okay.
and
Yeah.
Mercenary, our Pyro
Yeah.
trees are entirely different, even though they have that one ability in common.
Yeah.
Okay.
But basically, this means if I hit a large cluster of people,
I believe it's 3
Um,
targets max.
Yeah, up to 3.
so does it tick?
Nope.
I haven't done Madness, so
Alright, so
It is
Deathfield
instant-
heals the caster for 1% of maximum health each target struck. This healing
Which is
effect
a buff.
can no longer crit and no longer consumes recklessness charges.
Now, I don't know about the recklessness charges, because I have no idea, but the healing on it, not being able to crit but restoring 1% of maximum health, that sounds like a buff. Because crit
Okay.
heals from that thing were like in the 170 range before.
Okay.
And I've got 17k health right now, so 1%, it's just going to more or less stabilize the healing.
Okay.
Well, that's cool because now you know what you can actually
And
expect.
Devour now doubles the amount of healing generated by Deathfield and Parasitism. So it seems like they're giving Deathfield an overall balance and buff to make it more constant. Yes.
That's what it would look like to someone on the outside that's played a Sork with Deathfield. But they're not doing that change on mine. At least it's not showing up in patch notes. So as far as I can tell, Consular / Sage and Inquisitor / Sork aren't going to be seeing the difference.
Huh.
But I wouldn't be hard up for it at all.
It's
It would just
actually
normalize
under
the
the
healing
general
more.
Sith Inquisitor. Because if you look at Assassin, all the stuff under Assassin is indented. This is the Madness share tree, so it is affecting you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm okay with that then. That doesn't seem to bother me at all, because, as I said, the crit heals on it didn't really do much.
Okay. Okay.
They were pretty meh. Then again, all of the healing from the Madness tree is a friggin' joke anyway.
I think the only other big thing to talk about outside of flashpoints and operations is everyone's favorite crew skill, Biochem.
More nerfs!
What
Sorry,
the
guys.
hell are
I'm
they doing?
Fine with it, honestly.
Energized and Exotech stims and adrenals no longer require Biochem to use.
Well,
Energized and Exotech stims and adrenals are no longer bound, allowing them to be traded or sold to other players.
And then this
Reco-
one.
Rakata reusable stims and adrenals have been reduced in power, providing buffs equal to energized stims and adrenals.
What the fuck? This.
To just continue this quickly, George Zoella, who was the person who wrote the marvelous 2VR8 mail before, put up a message on the forums that basically says what they want from Biochem is not for it to be so powerful and give buffs, but for the energized and exotech stims and adrenals to open up the sale of them to make them be able to make money. They want to remove the pressure of Biochem being required for optimal performance, and that the reason they've reduced the effectiveness of the Rakata stim packs is because the intended benefit of those is their money saving over the long term, not unlimited power. Wrong class, but you see where I'm going.
Could be
At the same time, look at what they've done with them. They were way better than the others. So obviously the intended purpose of them wasn't just the cost-saving benefit, or that would have been how they were designed. And then they changed it so there was a massive health buff, plus still slightly better. And
the advantages of having Biochem is now significantly less, and why I can understand lowering it because it is still a huge boost, but why make it equal to the ones you can trade anyways? I realize that it's still unusable, fine, whatever, but it still needs to have a bigger benefit than that.
I need to add on to this with Kash. I've been one of the people that has strongly been against going Biochem because I called it. This was going to happen.
Yep.
But
absolutely.
At the same time, I said that it didn't need to happen if they started building up the other trade skills and bringing them in line with Biochem for benefits to the person using it, so that you weren't required to go Biochem to pick up these effects. And now they're talking about doing that. No, they are talking about doing that now. Now they're even saying that they're adding drops for Artifice, which to my knowledge has none, but they're planning on bringing those in. So not only is Biochem getting this nerf to bring it in line with the others, now the others are getting more schematic drops, which may inflate them above Biochem. We'll have to see what happens, but this may be a knee-jerk.
I severely doubt that it will inflate them above Biochem unless you give them the ability to craft Rakata gear.
I would have liked to see them bring the others up first before they nerfed Biochem.
I agree.
See,
just to see where it put them.
Speaking as a level 400 armor mech, I got a piece of Rakata gear the day I dinged 50 because I was able to craft a belt. Okay? Without making me able to craft my entire Rakata set, there is no way to bring me up to the level of Biochem as it stands right now. Or
I disagree.
Or Rakata equivalent gear.
Could have upped the Rakata gear you can make.
On the simple note that, one, Biochem can craft Rakata stuff too. Not stems and all that, but like implants.
Yes, but this is what I'm saying, is you can craft what I can craft, and the advantage that was already there in the adrenals and the bonuses and the health buff and all that other stuff that came from the med packs. The only other thing you possibly could have done was give me the ability to put like augment slots on gear.
Now, see, that's where I was going to go there, is if they allow us to actually craft Rakata-level enhancements, armor plates, and mods, and Biochem does not have access to this, now, I don't really like that, because that's going to shaft Biochem and force those that are doing Biochem into raids to get gear. Whereas we have to raid for a schematic and then can make it. And that's it. And then we can run around in orange gear with Rakata stats and be just fine.
No, I'm not talking about running around in orange gear with Rakata stats. I'm talking, let me craft Rakata Combat Medic field gear. Now, admittedly,
Where's
with
the incentive to sell things, though?
there isn't an incentive to sell things with Biochem as it stands.
Oh yeah, there is. Dude,
I make
Biochem
tons of
shit
cash.
even right now
Right
sells
now?
tons of stuff.
Yeah, I make tons
What
of
do
money
you
with
sell
that.
from Biochem?
Adrenals and stems. Make tons
Okay,
of
that
cash
can't be
just sitting there.
used.
Yes, they can.
Yeah, we can.
Okay,
They're just
but
blooms.
again,
Only the
again,
reusable ones can't be used.
again,
But-
this is what. But what I'm saying is, what are you gonna get? I mean, like, sure, I can go craft a thing which, when used, can add an augment slot to one area on your body. Okay, there is a finite amount of those that people need, right? And there just is. Stims and adrenals is an ongoing, multiple person, multiple per night thing. If you have a biochemist who sells stims and adrenals and med packs, unless you allow the person who has spent the money on Armamech to craft gear just for themselves, which is what the Ricardo gear is at present, it is bind on pickup, which is the wrists and the belt. And if you want to give me the ability to put augments on gear more reliably than having them crit, I'm still not sure that's at the same advantage that Biochem has right here, as it stands today. And I'm not sure what else you could do without unbalancing Armamech and Cybertech and the others.
On the notes, it also says that they're looking into lowering the cost overall for Biochem. So that should drive down the price in the market for Biochem stuff. And honestly, at worst, Alu makes me a couple of stems, and odds are, at the rate we're going through raid content right now, I only need one for the night.
Which can sell, I don't know, maybe 30,000 credits for one that goes through death, which is, 2 to 3 dailies, which if you do Ilum alone, you can do in like 10 minutes.
Okay, and
So,
what exactly am I going to sell from Armamech?
That's why I want to see some higher stuff come in. If they allow you to create and sell, now this is create and sell, specifically for me as an artifice, it would be enhancements. For an armor mech or a cybertech, I think it's armor plating and mods.
That's a Cybertech.
So, as those professions there, if you allow me to create and sell crafted columni level, which would be tier 2, columni level mods, armoring, and enhancements, that is pretty much an ongoing, very useful niche that could be filled.
Yep.
Especially if they allow people to craft goddamn expertise onto gear.
Yep.
Because now you can sell them a healer set, a DPS set, a
Okay,
tanking
so
set, and so on, where
you've
it then
got your
becomes
you've got
very
your answer for Cybertech
incentive.
and for Artifice. What is the answer for synth weaving and armor mech?
Well, synth weaving does armor.
It does the orange armor.
Well, like us in the Artifice line, which I still can't believe the first lightsaber I made is Artifice, I crit. That
Yeah.
lightsaber, with the intention of what they're adding into the next big content patch, with being able to remove hilts, armoring, barrels, all that kind of stuff from purples, that lightsaber that Alu, poor German guy not with us today, will be better than anything Kash will ever get as an equivalent until he gets a crafted lightsaber that has an augment slot.
But the thing you run into there is with the ability to remove armoring and barrels, like you said, is going to come up in the next major content patch.
Who knows
Does
when
that
is.
then not kill Cybertech and Arms Tech?
Not at all. Why would it?
Because I can go to you and get you to craft me a lightsaber and take the mods out of it and take everything out of it. Or I can go to one person and go, craft me an armor mod.
Now, you could go to me and have
barrel.
me craft that lightsaber, but you're getting, at best, level 52 blue mods.
Okay. So what?
Which is
you're
below,
saying is,
which is T&E's equivalent, basically.
okay. I'm just not sure that with the extractable base mods, armoring barrel, and the fact that you're going to be able to take set bonuses, I'm not sure that there is a high-end thing. I mean, I can't say high-end insofar as, oh my god, be-all, end-all, but I can definitely see what you mean about, like, expertise and, like, columni.
Well, I'm not saying
stuff.
it's ever going to be as marketable as Biochem, because as you said, that's a use it all the time, every day, use it for this, use it for that, use it for PvP, use it in raids. That's, something that's going to sell all the time. But if they keep the cost down on it, so you're paying at most like 10k for a through death stem, then at the same time, when you go to buy a purple mod from somebody who has put in the effort to reverse engineer the shit to get the one you're looking for, you're going to be paying 100 to 150 to 250k for this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, in one sale, make the equivalent of 25 sales in Biochem. I'm cool with that. But if Biochem's selling for 30 to 50k a pop, and my best bit is selling for 70 to 100,000, that's pointless. Why even bother?
So, but what I would like to know from you guys is, okay, so you say let Cybertech and ArmsMech sell their
not their Ricotta crafted, but be able to craft columni level and
their columni
sell
level stuff. All right, that's the selling side of things, right?
Their advantage would be self-crafted columni mods, armoring, or not columni, sorry, Ricotta armoring mods.
So you're saying give them the ability to craft that stuff for themselves?
Yes. Okay. Which would then allow them to, and this is where the advantage comes in for them, beyond just being a normal, okay, I went and got Ricotta gear from a raid. This is where the advantage comes in for them. When you reverse engineer it, there's a bunch of different patterns you can get. Therefore, when you reverse engineer them and get the patterns, you can customize your build. You're not stuck with goddamn Alacrity Ricotta stuff. You could get the Crit Surge Ricotta gear. That would be their big benefit.
So again, what would you see for Armor Mech and Synthweaving?
The ability to put mods in their crafted Ricotta gear, which is then better than anything that will ever be gotten. Their ability to put mods into orange gear, which is then better than
because
anything.
I don't get to craft the Ricotta level mods. I only get to craft. I only get to buy the next level down mods because the Ricotta level mods are bind for the people that
they don't even exist yet. You can't even make Ricotta.
No, I'm using your example.
So
like, the thing that I would see Armor Mech and Synthweaving maybe.
Armor Mech's tough. I'm sure. What is it? It's Cybertech that does the armoring and the mods. Armor Mech and Synthweaving, they're just pretty much armor, so I'm really not sure where you would pick up the slack on them, other than they are the ones that would do the full suits of armor with augment slots, because no one else does armor.
That's what I'm saying, is if you gave them the ability to put augment slots on gear, would that equal out, or...
They have the ability, but that's it.
Well, they
getting
have
that crit.
What I'm saying is, if I could craft this thing that I could then put on the auction house and go, use this, apply an augment slot to target body part, that gives me what I can sell on the auction house. But what is then the Armor Mech and Synthweaving Ricotta equivalent, other than the belt and the... Well, I suppose they
I don't like that. I wouldn't want them to add something that they could then use to put an augment slot on something, because then that would drive a lot of their sales market down. Whereas before, they could craft you a head, a bracer, pants, boots, gloves, and belt. Now they craft 6 of these things and go, here, these are on the market, and they're obviously probably going to be cheaper to get a hold of, and people will just throw it on Ricotta gear and say, fuck your profits.
Yeah, but,
so it should only be the orange gear.
Is I can make a head, a chest, a legs, or whatever, but, and this is probably for 99.9% of the playing population, they don't give a smeg what they look like when they reach 50. They don't care if they're Skittles the Trooper, because they know eventually they're going to get this set gear of Ricotta.
I can tell you right now, most fucking Sorks want different raid gear.
But this is
We
what I'm
don't
saying.
like being Space Pope.
But this is what I'm saying. That's how it stands now. Like, right now, the journey from 1 to 49, or 1 to 50, isn't something that Armament can make money on, or synth weaving for that matter, because people get a crafted a moddable chest on the second planet, and they never have to change it, ever. And then they get handed legs, they get handed boots, they get handed a helm, they get handed gloves.
I understand where you're coming at from that. So what about adding level restricted oranges for later? Or you can only get the mod slot on level 50 orange crafted gear for them from, then on. That way people have to buy. If they want that top end performance, they have to buy later rather than going to, like, say, 200 skill in it, getting a full suit with a mod slot, and then just waiting until end game to rip everything and put it in there.
Yeah.
Because I can see people doing that too. Anyway, yeah, we've
been talking about crafting for like 20 minutes right now. So let's wrap it up because we've been going for a while now. We can come back to things a little bit later. I just think that what we've gathered overall from today is that they need to either change or spend more time in the way that they test and the way that they approach handling situations, right?
I would definitely agree with that, yeah. I think they've been coming out with patches that are half-ass tested and not really ready to be released. Now, on the note of their Flashpoint that they released, that, aside from the mobs that are equivalent to smokers in Left 4 Dead, aside from those being able to permanently stun you, I found zero flaws with that place and had a good time and a good run through and no bugs on bosses, no game-breaking mechanics or anything going on in there. So why can't that level of testing be done for everything else? Like patches. Not just brand new content.
Yeah. So, is there anything anyone else wants to add? Because Valic and I have been talking for like 20 minutes at this point.
All your chats are belong to us!
That perma-stun thing is being changed in 1.1.2.
The what?
The perma-stun.
Yeah, from the mercenary guys.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you pointed that out before. That is correct. I think you pointed that out before the podcast there, where they're not perma-stunning people anymore.
Yep.
Which is good.
And Zara just groans.
It's alright. It's just, I still hate the fact that they aren't getting rid of faceplant mechanics in raid bosses. Ops.
Why? Why? In rage timers and death sentence boss fights are not fun. Why are we focusing on that so much? Although we have gotten away from that puzzle boss even being a remote threat, even on hard mode, I think. Or 16-man, for that matter. But still, it's a dumb mechanic. And the mechanics in SWTOR are dumb. I don't know. Sorry, Zero.
It's fine. Just look at the patch notes and go, why aren't they doing something about that? And as a healer that's hot-based, they make me groan because it sucks to heal those.
Yeah, out of curiosity, before we wrap up here, how long would it take your HOTS, this is fully spec'd as a healer, to heal the 8,000 damage done to me on my sword after shield mitigates the explosion of face plant into a lightning ball?
So it's here, 8,000 if, you're just saying HOTS only.
And this is including the fact that I've already put a shield on myself, which negated about 4k worth of damage.
Let's see. It would take me about 30 seconds. Because 2 probes, the little spray bottle things, give about 2,500 over 18. My AoE one does 1,500 over 15, so you'd have to do like 1.5 cast of both. So yeah, you're looking around 25 to 30 seconds. And also that costs 60 energy, so I'm down to half regen.
Now, I'd like to point out that as a Sork healer, that is nothing. But trying to heal multiple people doing that is ridiculous. I don't have the AoE spread heal mechanics that you do, obviously, since you have far better HOTS than I do, considering I have one on a cooldown.
And that's just because that's what the classes are made for, but yeah, that's why essentially you have to have a Sork healer almost anymore, which is just stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb as hell to force a healer like Zara, who has been heal spec all along, into a secondary or even tertiary healing role because of fight mechanics. Where's the balance amongst everyone playing that they get to play with their spec and be just as effective as some other healer?
Especially with, again, it kind of comes to the whole, we're doing big burst damage, so hot healers are kind of nerfed, so you kind of inadvertently did another nerf to ops and scoundrels again, without being direct about it.
And I'm sorry, that's kind of a touchy subject for me, is the heals, because I just respect as healer for my Sork on this pickup raid that we threw together here the other day, and I healed with Alandra going through it because Zara wasn't available. I am so ridiculously effective at single target healing on the Sork that it feels almost broken compared to what other healers have to deal with. I basically don't run out of force. I have no issues with it at all.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much for the hot thing you're talking about, you said, the shield is what, 3,500 damage basically?
Between 3.2 and probably 4K, somewhere in that neighborhood, because I haven't done the hard math on it based on my stats and everything.
So yeah,
but yeah.
basically all my hots put together. So yeah, it's half my energy gone just to equal your shield, and yours is there prematurely. I have to pick it up after.
Which is again something we talked about before. Yes, mine's instant cast. Over time, your HOTS will heal as much or more, but I can preemptively bubble someone, effectively adding to their total health pool. You cannot.
And I have no way to really bubble anyone. Which...
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to keep dragging it out and all that kind of stuff, but that was something that me and Zara were talking about earlier, and I just kind of want to touch on that a little bit. And yeah, so I'll give it back to Anla here and shut the hell up.
Okay, you sure?
No, but why would you ask me that?
That's true. So I think we'll wrap up there. Thank you for listening in to our second episode of the Patchcast.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Damn it, Valic.
Damn it, Valic, indeed. Alu, get well soon, buddy. Blaine, I hope your computer hasn't died.
Or that you have died.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dying in a ditch somewhere. And, again, we will see you again soon. Bye, everybody.
See you all later.
Ta-ta.
Goodbye.